Pure West Sport with Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors. We are live right now on the Pure West Radio Facebook page, as well as on the PWR app on your smart speakers tonight, and crystal clear on DAB digital radio across Pembrokeshire. And we've got stacks to get through tonight, and it is really good to have you with us. We'll be talking to Ironman Sean Thomas from Milford Haven before 9 o'clock. He was one of the amazing athletes to complete the 2025 edition of the event yesterday, and he raised money for charity at the same time. In a few moments, if you're watching on the video, you will see our first guest standing by to talk to us. That's Hannah Webster. Hannah came fourth in the World CrossFit Adaptive Games in Las Vegas last week, and she is on the show to tell us about her amazing experience in just a sec. We're also going to round up all the other Pembrokeshire sporting stories from the weekend with football and rugby on tonight's agenda. So let's get going. Fast approaching 8:05 in the studio in Haverfordwest tonight. Fraser Watson, how are you?
Not too bad, Ben. Long weekend of turning 42, going to St Andrews, 7-8 hour round trip to see Swansea lose in the 95th minute, and then a bit of Ironman Denver yesterday. And very good weekend, and feeling every bit of 42 this morning, I can promise.
Fraser, is it your birthday today, Fraser?
It was on Friday.
It was okay. Many happy returns. Excellent stuff. Yeah, indeed. And people are now very shocked watching the video. I think, God, that Fraser's 42 years old. Thought he was far older, didn't they? No, he doesn't look it. He really doesn't. Gord, how are you? All right?
I'm very good, mate. Not so much ground hopping around here on Saturday. It was so wet. Unbelievable rain we had on Saturday afternoon. Yeah. It was terrible weather, considering the cricket season was only a few weeks ago, and we were talking about the beautiful sunshine. We hadn't missed a league game. Things have changed here, Ben.
Yeah, I know. Incredible, really, that football matches were called off in Pembrokeshire, and it was the 20th of September, wasn't it? So we lost some games quite early on into the season because of the weather. We're going to get to the football in just a sec. Someone who I think has probably come back from somewhere where the weather was pretty good, I imagine, is Hannah Webster, who is our guest. And Hannah's with us right now because she took part in the World CrossFit Adaptive Games, and this was some achievement. Hannah came fourth, and she'll tell us all about it. Am I right in thinking that in Las Vegas it was pretty good weather, Hannah?
Yes, it was about 40 degrees, I think, so slightly warmer than here. It was a bit of a shock when we got back Thursday night, and then, we had that rain we were just talking about.
Yeah, it's like the reverse, isn't it? When you get to the hot place and you get off the plane and that feeling of just warmth, and then when you come back and do it in reverse and the temperature has plummeted, it's not the same, is it? But listen, you had some trip, and it's really, really great to have you on the show. So thank you for being with us tonight, because you did have some trip. And as I say, you came forth, and we're going to talk all about that in a sec. But we've got plenty of people watching who will probably say, well, what's this about? What is the World CrossFit Adaptive Games? And maybe you could just start by explaining a bit for us, Hannah.
Yeah, of course. So CrossFit itself is a mix of weightlifting, gymnastics and cardio, and it's all kind of mixed up in together to make high intensity workouts, sort of designed for everyone to make it, make you fitter and stronger for everyday life. And then with that, you get adaptive CrossFit, which is now, it modifies it for everyone. So anybody with any disabilities or chronic illness can take part and do what they can to stay fit and healthy and happy as well. So it's a really inclusive way in sport, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so we'll talk about the actual the games and the competition in just a sec. But maybe just your own journey and how you came to get involved with CrossFit, Hannah. Could you just explain a bit about that for us?
So I was always a marathon runner. I always ran lots of races, did triathlons, marathons and half marathons and 10Ks and stuff. And then probably about 10 years ago, my boyfriend at the time then introduced me to CrossFit, saying you're getting a bit older, you need to incorporate some strength into your life, and just get some weights and some strength in your legs and stuff. So okay, I thought, oh right, great. But thank goodness I did, because I was doing it for 5 years, and then 5 years ago I then got diagnosed with MS. So it broke my heart, because obviously being a runner, it really has, I can't run anymore. So at the time I was able to run a little bit, but that's gradually decreased over the years, and now I can't run at all. So thank goodness I was introduced to CrossFit, and from already knowing what the sport was about, I've been able to, over the last 5 years, adapt and come up with my own versions of what everybody else does at the gym. So it's been a real lifesaver for me, and one that I'm very, very glad that I found.
Let me go to Fraser. I know he's standing by with a question. I think I can tell.
Yeah, firstly, Anna, congratulations. A bit about my first actual question, drives something you just said there about the temperatures in Las Vegas. I know my experience of CrossFit, a lot of it is inside, but it can actually incorporate outdoor work as well. With the weather as it was in Las Vegas, was part of your competition outside as well as in the gym?
No, it was in it was in the freezing cold air conditioning and in Vegas. But unfortunately, a lot of chronic illnesses such as MS, heat is really, really bad for you.
Oh,
And,
right.
and my symptoms, along with other people with other illnesses, get a lot worse when you get hotter. So I can just tell when I'm walking, when I've got a little bit warmer, even from a workout or just walking with the dogs or something, they gradually get worse and worse, and I have to sit down for a minute. But in terms of having the games outside, you need your pull-up bars, you need your boxes, you need the weights and the all the different equipment that CrossFit entails. So yeah, it wouldn't have really been possible to do it outside. Thank goodness, actually.
And
I think in the real games, sometimes they do swim, they incorporate swims and running and stuff outside, but with adaptive sports, many of us unfortunately can't run, so we have to do things like bear crawls and other, or maybe some lunges or something that's a lot of rowing and bikes and all that kind of stuff, which sort of is our running, if you like.
and I know it's something CrossFit which obviously severely tests your form and your technique when fatigue sets in. I mean, what are the levels like at a world championship event like that with the judges? Just how strict are they if you do a particular movement and they don't think your form is good enough? They just strike it out straight away?
Very strict. My absolute goal for the games was not to get no repped, but I did get a couple of no reps. But when you're throwing the ball, it has to be above a certain height, and then when you're squatting, you have to be lower than parallel. There are so many different things. When I was doing the bear crawl, you have to make sure your hands and your feet are over the line, and you don't turn too soon, or you've got to do it again. There's so many things, and they're so strict. So you have to be very, very
How tough is that?
of that.
How tough is that to maintain your form and your technique when, of course, extreme fatigue is setting in towards the end of CrossFit? So we've all been there, whether it be running, whatever, where you're stumbling over the line or you're crawling sometimes in my case. So how difficult is it at that event to almost keep the muscle memory going and keep the rhythm going when you're really
it's really difficult. It's really difficult, and it's almost impossible. We had a rowing workout, which was basically 18 minutes of rowing, and sort of by the last few minutes my leg just wouldn't work at all, but you still got to try and get as many meters as you can. So I'm going like this to use my arms. When you can't use something, you use something else. It's like there was 26 different divisions, so over 260 athletes, and the categories were the vision impaired, there was deaf category, there was an intellectual, there was one limbed. It was just so inspiring and amazing seeing what people can do, despite what they've been given in life. So
incredible.
With my running not happening and all that kind of stuff, I have to stand still and go, oh, shut up, this is what you still can do. It's just amazing seeing people just get stuck in, and they were doing sort of pull-ups with one arm and doing being blind, running across. It was just so good. It was just such a good community. It is such a good community to be part of, and I didn't realize it would affect me as much as it did. Actually, I got there and I was almost like, oh my God, I found my people. It's a bit, when here in normal life, I fall over quite a lot. When I was there with everyone else, we were all falling over, so it was fine.
It's
Come on,
great to see somebody with your condition. Just an inspiration, to be honest with you. Just taking part and to compete at world level is absolutely fantastic. But what was it like just to miss out on a medal? Be honest.
Oh, come on. I gotta say, it's about the taking part, Gordon.
No, it's about obviously you're very competitive. You can tell by the way you're talking about it, But has it inspired you to go to the next one?
Oh
and
yeah, next year
go on the podium.
Next year, come on, that's it.
Bring it
for
on.
Wales. Yes, come on. Although I don't think all my sponsors are going to be like, oh no, not again. I can't sponsor you again. No, because that's the thing with adaptive sports. The sponsorship is really, really hard, and that's why it's really important for us to get the word out there. I can't sort of explain how important it is for people to know that there are things that they can be doing, even if they have had an accident or they've been diagnosed with a chronic illness. If I hadn't have had CrossFit, I'd be in a really dark hole now. It's just, it's given me a sense of purpose. And that's exactly what everyone else was saying last week. They just found something that they can be a part of and have a goal to aim for, and they can do anything. And it's amazing. And it's so important that people know that.
I was going to ask you that, Hannah, and we've all, Fraser, myself, Gordon, we've all played sport at different levels. Fraser and I still love running.
Yes.
What was that like, that moment where you found that you couldn't do it anymore? And it's interesting what you just said there, that without CrossFit you would have been in a real dark place, because I imagine you use your exercise and your sport to help your mental health. So what was that moment like, and how hard was it to say, okay, this has happened, but I've now got something else that I can focus on?
It was really gradual, to be honest. So I was diagnosed and I was still making myself go out running and stuff. And then it kind of got worse in the months to come. And then there was a moment where I was just trying to run and I was falling over, and I was trying to run and I was falling over. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's really hard. It still breaks my heart, because whenever I had a stressful day at work or something, I'd go for a quick run at lunchtime and just, get all my stress out and speak to myself in my head and be all ready to go by the time I got back to my desk after a run. So it is really hard, but I just have to find different ways of doing it and have a, maybe we've got dogs now. We never had dogs before, so there you go. It's almost like you have to sort of grieve your old life a bit, but then realize that you've been given this new opportunity, and you're living in. We moved to Pembrokeshire, obviously, that when I was diagnosed and COVID hit and all that, because we can now work from home and do everything online. But I would never be here living by the seaside if it wasn't for MS. So I've got to be grateful. It's given me some things. It's taken away a lot, but it's also given me some things as well.
And what about that journey then, from that point where you weren't able to run as you once could, to then, as Gordon and Fraser said, competing on the world level? Do you have to pinch yourself a little bit sometimes that life has taken you down a different path, but you're actually smashing it, Hannah?
Well, I'm trying to smash it, Ben. But it's amazing. I mean, my aim was, my fastest marathon was 3:23, and I was like, I've got to get faster than that. But obviously that's never ever going to happen now. So now I'm like, right, I've got to get a muscle up. It's just about having different goals, different objectives, and different, different things in your head that you can do to be a bit realistic, I guess.
I mean, for a start, I'd settle for 3:23. I don't know about Ben. He's done a couple more marathons. There's a couple more marathons.
It's quicker than my PB, that, by 2 minutes, actually.
Is it? By
2 minutes. 2 minutes, yeah.
I always wanted under 3:20.
I know you're based training-wise in CrossFit Pembrokeshire. I think it's CrossFit Dynamic. I'm not sure the exact name. The base is in Haverfordwest and Tenby. I know.
CrossFit Pembrokeshire.
Sam Fennick.
Everybody come to CrossFit Pembrokeshire.
Very well. Yeah. Just talk a bit about the work they've done with you there, in particular Sam and Morris.
Oh, Sam and Moz have been so supportive. But every single workout, they make sure I have a little adaptation, or I know what I'm doing, so that I can still follow exactly the same as what everybody else is doing, but perhaps I'm using a different box, or I'm doing single skips instead of double unders, or double under you're skipping. And I kind of know myself what I'm doing, but they're always there to support me. And we have Jules King, who you might have heard of. She's got Parkinson's, and she goes to CrossFit in Haverfordwest as well. She's amazing. She competed in the games last year as well. So we have her. We have another amazing guy that had a horrific accident last year on a bike and is now paralyzed. So he's coming to the gym and he's doing what he can, and he's still got his, his spirits are there, and he just, everyone's just so supportive. I can't say how much of it I love everyone's support, and they've been very good in watching me live on YouTube last week, sending the messages of support and donating, whether it's £1 or 500. It's just been amazing, and I've appreciated everyone. So it's been really good.
What's next, Hannah? When will we see you competing, and anything else to come on the world stage?
Well, but hopefully I can qualify and go back next year. It would be amazing. So there are a few other adaptive competitions, but there's still not that many. We need to get it more recognised, I guess. There's a few in the UK. I haven't done that many in the UK, but I need to start doing some more, I think, so I can be fresh, ready for the next year's competition. Because I was going to say as well, doing that competition last week was nothing like I've ever done, ever. It was not like going to the start line on a marathon or a triathlon or anything like that. It was adrenaline beyond belief. You were just, because I had 3 workouts in one day. One was at 11 in the morning, another at like 3, and then another at 6. And they're only sort of 15-20 minute max workouts, so that's a lot of waiting around, and sort of great being able to support everyone else. But that adrenaline, up down, oh my god, my stomach, I mean, the toilets there were not in a good state.
Not gonna be.
But no, it was really good. It was a very good experience.
And you mentioned as well just at the start, that sponsorship is obviously very important, and for you personally, but also for the community, isn't it, really, for helping people take part in these competitions and the good that it does. How would someone watching get involved, and how do you look to work with sponsors, Hannah?
Well, a lot of emails. I emailed and Instagrammed and messaged and Googled and researched. Luckily I was in PR, so I kind of quite a favour with the media and sort of speaking to newspapers and everything. So I mean, I sent out hundreds. That I didn't have a great response. I had a few companies that sent me a few bits, which were amazing. Frog grips, they're called. They sent me out a lifting belt and some grips and some wristbands and things. But otherwise it was a GoFundMe that I did, which was the majority of the money that we raised, and for that I'm really, really thankful. Even stuff like the entry was about £500, so it's not a small change. And then the flights and the accommodation, but no, it's really, when you get there and you see the work that they've done to it and how much work everyone's put into it, you can understand why. And everybody there is volunteering. They had physios volunteering, the judges are volunteers. So yeah, I mean, we need to get more sponsors involved. We need to get the big boys in.
Final one then. Why CrossFit? For people watching, why should people give CrossFit a go? Have you done it actually before, Hannah? Before you answer that, Fraser, are you a CrossFitter?
Yeah, I was a very short period. Actually, I was still playing rugby at the time. I just couldn't manage doing it a couple of times a week along with rugby training. It was the only reason I stopped. But no, it was actually very early on in the CrossFit Centre. The Tenby one wasn't built then when I did it, and it did become addictive at times. And you saw it picked up a big following and a big membership base pretty quickly there.
So go on, Hannah. Why CrossFit?
Well, it's a little bit of a cult, really. It's not. It's just amazing. The community. No, it's a bit addictive. You go there and you see your same friends that you see in the class every morning. You will have a coffee, a catch up, a bit too much talking, and you get told off by the coach. But and you can never get bored. If someone doesn't like one thing, there'll be another thing in there. So they just have to suck up and do the thing that they don't like, as well as the thing that they do like. So it's just a really good variety of things to do, as well as doing it with great people. So it's fun. It's good for the soul.
I think we should all give it a go. If it makes everyone as enthusiastic as you about it, Hannah, I think we should all have a go, because you are some advocate for it. Listen, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations again on what you did out in Vegas last week. Fourth is a phenomenal effort. Podium next time, and you can come back onto Pure West, and you can tell us all about it. You're more than welcome. Hannah, thank you very much indeed for your time. We are going to come back for part 2 of Pure West Sport in just a few moments for this Monday evening.